Welcome to the Nightly Talk with your host, Nicholas, guest host, Parker. So tonight, folks, we're going to get right into things. I'm going to start off, since it's Columbus Day, with a quote from President Reagan. He said of Columbus that he was a brilliant navigator, a fearless man of action, a visionary who opened the eyes of an older world to an entirely new one. Above all, he personifies a view of the world that many of us see quintessentially American. Not merely optimistic, but scornful of the very notion of despair. Columbus changed the course of the world history forever by his bravery and navigation to discover a new land where eventually freedom would ring. Happy Columbus Day. Unfortunately, that is not the view of a lot of Americans anymore. They want to vilify Columbus as a man who basically in a way started slavery, and there was just a lot more to it than what he did not do. But above that, the liberals have decided that canceling Columbus and taking down statues would stop Columbus Day, and it did not. Your mail still will not run tomorrow, and we still use it as a federal holiday in all situations. Banks are closed, so it's still part of our country, a part of our founding country. It's what led to people coming over from another country and starting the colonies, and really just going from there and writing our Constitution as you know it today, that gives these people the freedom to try to cancel him. Cancel culture is a huge thing. It's everywhere now. But unfortunately for them, they can't cancel the fact that history happened. So above all else, we'll move on from that and we'll discuss some other things. We'll start off with the Gabby Petito autopsy. They're going to be coming out with that pretty soon. So Petito's remains were at a dispersed campground in the Bridge-Tenton National Forest. Blue later identified remains as and ruled Petito's death a homicide in his preliminary autopsy. So there's going to be a press conference on that they're going to hold. The final autopsy report will likely have her cause of death and time, everything, which will probably help investigators determine who or what killed her. They reported her missing 8 days before her remains were found. She was 22 years old, traveling cross country with her boyfriend Brian Laundrie, who is still on the run. And there's been a lot of speculation of where he's at. I think the FBI could probably do a little better in finding this guy. They don't have a great track record of finding people. Obviously, they've always reached out to the public, and the public's always been their backup to turn in tips and help find people that they need to find. With that being said, they did issue a warrant for his arrest on September 23rd, trying to get him for bank card fraud. Obviously, they don't have enough to charge him with murder. So there's a lot going on there. I just can't believe that there's not more been done to try to find him. I don't think they're really using the resources that they have at their disposal to find him, I guess. I guess, again, there's more to that story, but a couple of things we're going to touch on. Other stories wise is like Fauci and Climate protests over at the White House. I mean, there's just a lot going on right now, and this world's not even the same place it was 5 years ago. And I say that, and it makes me sound like an old person that always says, oh, in my day, things were different, and people were different, and times were different. Well, they were. But times have changed dramatically. This world's a very dangerous place right now. With I have children who attend school, and it's just a very crazy time. The stories I hear from them when they come home of the things that are happening at school. Obviously CRT is a big issue that's being taught in school right now, and I think it's a huge mistake. It's not bringing people or kids closer together. It's teaching them to be more divided, and I think I think overall that's what the liberals want. I think they really want this country divided. It's easier to get votes that way. It's easier to rein in a poorer population if we say continuously that we're going to give you handouts. Well, what's the incentive to go to work? What's the incentive to be unified as a country, as people, if we're just going to feed you and then tell you about all the bad people that are out there and act as if they're the reason that you're in poverty, when that's not the case. The case is, a lot of these people stay in poverty because it's easy. We've created a lazy society of people who don't want to work, and I can speak to that firsthand because of the job I hold. The wages we offer, which in my view is a ridiculous amount for non-skilled people. And when I say non-skilled, I don't mean uneducated. I mean they have no skills. If you look at the food industry, that's always been a stepping stone to somebody's career. And we have always taken people in the food industry and taught them some transferable skills that they could take with them on their path to their career. And now we give them no incentive to work whatsoever. And we even offer them a higher wage than what they should make, and they still don't show up for work, and they still don't come to work because the liberals are constantly, let us give you this and let us give you that. And why would you want to succeed if you feel success in poverty? And that's what it comes down to. People feel successful staying in poverty. Well, I don't have to go to work. I don't have to try hard. I don't have to try to succeed in life because I've already succeeded in being comfortable. I will continue to take the handouts that the government continues to give me, and it's not a sustainable thing, and I don't think the liberals understand that. You can't continuously give these people handouts for nothing, for them to stay at home, stay lazy, don't try. You're giving them no incentive to do any better in life, and that's why you see the benchmark moving between upper class and lower class. It's been that way for years. It's moving the benchmark more and more, where the cost of living is going up, inflation is crazy, and so the poverty line is moving up, and there's no incentive to get out of it. I think the answer to that would be for, obviously, let's stop the handouts, but let's take away all this this government spending and these government programs and give it back to the communities. Let the communities handle it like it was when I was a kid. And you would see more people going to work rather than staying home. The incentive to stay home is much more than it is to go to work, which is insane to me. Why people don't see that is beyond me. Why people would vote for Democrats or vote Democrat in order to continuously take a handout, other than the fact they're lazy. The programs were originally built for people who were in poverty and needed to make a way out, and I agree with that portion of the program. Let's help people get themselves out of poverty, but that portion of the program is long gone. That's been gone for years. People no longer are trying to get out of poverty. We just continuously hand them money, food stamps, link card, rather than offering them more job opportunities and saying you have X amount of time to get off that. And you say, well, people are having a tough time finding jobs, and that's definitely not the case. Jobs are everywhere. Even at our highest unemployment rate, there were jobs out there. People just chose not to take them, or they go in. Food service is always hiring. The food service industry is always hiring. I don't think you would ever call a fast food restaurant and have them tell you that they're not hiring, and for you to say, well, that's beneath me. Well, if it's beneath you and you're taking a government handout, then the government handout needs to be taken away from you, and let you fend for yourself. If you're not going to try to better your position and improve your poverty by taking a job that you feel is beneath you, then you don't deserve that government handout. There should be some kind of limit to that, but the liberals don't believe there should be a limit. They just continually hand out week after week after month after month. And I definitely don't see how that's sustainable for the future of our country. Not when the benchmark is being moved higher and higher each year. I think now the median income for somebody to receive food stamps. Let me just take a look here. Pretty sure it's pretty high. Income limit for link. So I can tell you in the state of Illinois. Let's take a look. So the SNAP program is what it's called, IDHS 124. So this is the maximum gross monthly income, age 60 and over disabled, that you're allowed to make. Let me repeat that. Maximum gross monthly income. So the maximum gross monthly income for a house of 6 people to receive supplemental nutritional assistance program, and this was updated October 2020, and you're not going to believe this. So for 6 people in a household, you can make up to $4,800 a month and still receive food stamps, medical card. That's insane to me. 4,835. Let's just see what that is yearly. That's $58,000 a year. So you can have a household income of $58,000 a year, which is a pretty good chunk of change, and still receive SNAP benefits for a household of 6. So if you're married and have 4 children, you can make almost $60,000 a year and continue to receive state benefits. It's insane. Like, I don't even understand how that's a thing. But that benchmark keeps moving. So each year, and I'm sure it'll be so that was updated October of 20. So that's going to update again. So for a number, okay. So let me look here. 969 times 12. Oops, times 12. All right, so if you make $58,000 a year for a household of 6 people, you can receive almost $12,000 a year in government assistance. I mean, that is paying your rent. I mean, I know houses that rent for $800, and maybe not in all areas, and I get that when you get around the bigger cities, Chicago, and I'm sure those benefits actually go up in those areas. So I know the state minimum wage is $11 an hour, but I know in Chicago, in Cook County, the minimum wage is like $15 an hour. So I mean, at what point do we say we can no longer help you? You have to do this on your own. I mean, when do we actually say we're not going to support you anymore? You need to do this on your own, making $60,000 a year for a family of 6, and that's not impossible. I mean, listen, a house payment's $800 a month, and that's your escrow and everything. You know, for a house for a family of 6, that's 3 or 4 bedroom house in my area, and I'm sure it's much more than that in the Chicago area or in the Springfield area. I'm aware of that, but what point? I mean, if we looked at each state individually, and I'd have to do some research. I didn't do a lot of research on this, being our first show, and just kind of wanting to touch base on a lot of different things. But for a household of 10, you can make almost $8,000 a month. Each additional person, you can add $616 a month after 10. I mean, so what's crazy about that is the monthly gross maximum income for a person age 60 or over or disabled is for a household of 6, it goes down. So with more than 10 people in your house, you could add 616. It comes to about $96,000 a year. But if you're disabled, the amount actually goes down. So we don't want to take care of people who are disabled, but people who are able-bodied, we want to give you more of a handout. Why is that? That doesn't even make sense in the program. So the maximum gross, and I'll give you an example here. So when you get up to 6 people, so it actually starts going down at 6 people. Oh no, I guess it does not. Okay, so I was looking at it wrong, folks. Sorry about that. Okay, so still, the amount is not much different. About 100, not even $100, about $80. It's insane to me. Why do we continue these programs? It's not sustainable. It's not fair to the taxpayers who have worked and continue to work. I think we need to set a time limit on these benefits. I would say 3 years. 3 years is plenty of time to get your act together, get a good job. And no, maybe fast food is not the ideal job for you, but it's a place to start, rather than living off the government and other taxpayers. I mean, let's take a hard look at that. But anyway, moving on. I think I touched base enough on that. I think you get where I'm going with that. I think, and I'll repeat it. I'm 100% positive that the federal government should not be involved in dispersing funds to the state, so that the state level can disperse it to people who basically choose not to work, and that comes into the labor shortage. I say the labor shortage because it started back last year when we started handing out all these stimulus checks. People went crazy. I mean, you've seen Walmart and Target and Kroger's and these fast food places report some of their biggest profits in like 10 years. I mean, why is that? Because found money never does anybody any good. I can tell you why. They didn't save any of the money. They didn't pay what they should have paid with it. They didn't pay their rent. You see evictions. The moratorium has gone away, and people are being evicted left and right. Now they don't have money to pay their new first month's rent deposit. What you've done is inject a bunch of money into the system, yes, but at what cost? The cost of people being evicted, people still not working because they've raised the amount of money you can receive. They're handing out these food stamp benefits like crazy now. And now you're going to see something that's unprecedented. So they're giving these monthly checks now of people's tax money to them in a monthly allotment. And then when they get to the following tax year to file their taxes and receive their refund, I think what you're going to see is you're going to see a lot of people. You're going to see a crash. You're going to see a crash in profit because there won't be so many people out spending all the money that they usually get. And I know people that got $10,000 and $12,000 on a tax refund yearly. They won't be getting that. They'll be getting half. I think you're going to see people upset, and I think you'll see, before we get there, I think you'll see the liberals try to step in and write that money off and give people their full amount and write off, and I don't know what kind of bill they'll write to make that possible, but I think what you'll see is they'll try to pass a stimulus bill to make up for the money that they got throughout the year. And what I mean by that is, so they're going to receive half their taxes on their income, and I think you'll see the liberals try to come up with a bipartisan bill that will supplement the other half of that money back to the people again, because it's a bubble. So essentially you're blowing air into this bubble that's going to pop, and I don't think a lot of people recognize that or see it. I definitely do. I don't think I definitely think the president, I definitely think the Republicans seen it. I don't know that the liberals didn't see it. I just don't think they care, because we can just print money. We print money forever. There's no end to the amount of money we can continue to print. That's a problem as well. And going into that, we can talk about the debt ceiling. It's an unfortunate situation that we've raised the debt ceiling at all. I think the best thing we should have done. And I've heard it time and time again. I listen to several podcasts myself and several talk radio shows. The best thing we could have done was just done away with the debt ceiling and paid our bills with the taxes that we continue to collect. The problem with that is we couldn't continue a lot of these government programs that continually hand money out to people. They're all tied together, and that is why the liberals are for more government. They just want more government programs to line their pockets with more money, keep you poor, and keep your vote. They're buying your vote. So the debt ceiling and that goes hand in hand. If they continue to raise the debt ceiling, we can continue to borrow money as a country to pay our bills, and then use the tax money that we collect to pay out these government programs to people who don't want to work, because that's the society we've created. It's a big mess. At least with Trump, we were definitely on the right track. You've seen the middle class actually moving the bar down. Less of them were needing government assistance. You had a record amount of people working. Unemployment was at an all-time low. Gas prices were at an all-time low. I think today I seen gas at like $3.50 a gallon. I think they're talking in New York it's over $5 a gallon. And here we are, January to now, not even a full year later, and the United States is in shambles. I mean shambles. There's this cancel culture everywhere. There's a very lazy group of people who don't want to work, and I think the cancel culture and them are one of the same. They'll go out and protest each night and try to cancel. They're attacking Democrats now. Things are starting to backfire on them, on the Democrats, because of this. Once you start handing out to people, I've always been told you give an inch, they take a mile, and it's starting to prove true. You have a lot of people who are upset because, let's be honest about it, folks, they're lazy. They don't want to go to work. They want that handout. Now the little handout's not enough. They want more and more and more. We're turning this country into a socialist country, if I've ever seen one. I actually seen the thing the other day. It's turning the clocks back this November to 1942, Nazi Germany. It's a crazy time in America. If you really take a look around, I can tell you the difference between then, when I was younger, and now was people worked. People went to work, and we were able to discuss our political views without being firebombed, without burning down buildings or whole neighborhoods. And yes, things did happen like that, but they were controlled. We didn't just let them go night after night, month after month, like Oregon. Jeez, what a mess there. But now it's spread. It's everywhere. You look at the LA riots in the 90s. You look at the Rodney King riots in the 90s. They were one area, obviously a very liberal state, but even then we allowed our police to do their job and to the best of their ability with the equipment they had at the time, and put a stop to it. Now every time a officer turns around, he's being prosecuted for doing his job. It's becoming a very serious trend. Defund the police has gone away a little bit, at least. I certainly don't want the police defunded. I want them to protect my home, my children, my family. If you don't want your house protected, I'm totally fine with that. But but don't defund the police for it. Just leave a note outside on your door that says, no police help wanted here. I'm fine with that too. But also leave a note for the criminal so that they know they can break into your house at any time. I mean, it's probably the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And I haven't even been here that long. 42 years, people. I mean, defund the police is probably the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. Those people serve and protect you. And I'm not saying there's not a bad apple or two or three in the bunch. Obviously there is. But let's be honest here. They definitely serve and protect in most instances. If you say that a lot of these guys, were innocent in what they were doing, they were not. I'm absolutely sure that there was many instances where police attacked or were out of were out of order in sorts doing what they were doing. I have no doubt about that. I'm definitely for police reform of some sort. I definitely don't think they should have military gear to go into a hostage situation, and or wearing and using military gear in regular patrols. Yes, violent crime is up under Biden, something like 40% across the nation, which is a pretty insane number. But that goes back to, defund the police. You gave these people a right to passage to commit crime, get away with it, not have any consequences, and just do whatever they want, and that includes violent crime, gun crime. And the answer to that is to not create more crime, creating a safe space for a criminal. Are you kidding me? There's a lot going on there, but creating a safe space for a criminal is not the key here. I think if you want to put a stop to, I say stop, and I don't mean that. If you want to bring down the amount of violent crime, then make some examples. Do the crime, do the time, obviously, has always been said, but let's make examples of some people to show them we're not messing around. No, it won't drive violent crime down 100%, but it'll put a damper on it. But if you continue to coddle these people and allow them to do whatever they want, you're just going to make the situation worse. Defunding police, you're sending the wrong message to say, hey, do whatever you want, whenever you want. With that being said, we're going to take a short break here. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Alright folks, we're back. We've got a couple things we're going to talk about. So, we're going to touch on Ben and Jerry. Talking to them, they have decided to stop selling ice cream in occupied Palestinian territory, which is really funny. So they were asked, they were asked that they are big proponents of voting rights, and McGammon said, the interviewer that was talking to him, why do you still sell ice cream in Georgia, Texas, all abortion bans? Why are you still selling there? And Cohen appeared dumbfounded as he shrugged and said, I don't know, before chuckling. And I can tell you why you don't know. He says he doesn't know what it would he don't know what it would accomplish if he stopped selling there. And I can tell you exactly what it would accomplish. Money. He wouldn't make any more money. They're not making money selling their ice cream in occupied territory by the Palestinians because their ice cream isn't that popular overseas. The reason he will never stop selling in the United States, even though he's a proponent to voting rights, is simply because money. He doesn't want to be broke. It would accomplish if he stopped selling it. Hey, this is the stand I'm taking. This is what I'm willing to do. So I'm not going to sell my ice cream in Texas or other places that I don't agree with the politics that are going on in that state. Why not just sell it in Chicago where liberals rule? Because it's money. They're making millions of dollars in selling ice cream yearly, and you don't want to be broke. I mean, give me a break. Just be honest about it. Just tell it how it really is. Don't laugh and make a joke about it because you don't want to tell the truth. Pretty funny. Just wanted to touch base on that, really. And I mean, it goes back to the cancel culture and all this wokeness. I guess you would call it woke ice cream, because that's what he's trying to be. Woke ice cream. He knows that the people that buy his ice cream are probably mostly poverty people, people in poverty. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm misspoken, and I would have to do some research and get some numbers on that, and I could definitely do that. But I can bet you it's more to do with money why he doesn't stop selling here than he does overseas. I guarantee you the amount of income he gets from overseas is a third of what he gets here in the United States. So it's a way for him to make a stand, quote, without making a stand. I mean, it's pretty stupid if you ask me, but it is what it is. So moving on, I mean, there's a lot of things we could talk about in this podcast. Being my very first one, little more unorganized than I wanted it to be. We kind of just threw this thing together and started doing it, and so we're gonna leave off with that tonight where we're at. Leave some comments below. Smash that like button and subscribe button. Let us know what you'd like to hear about next. And I appreciate you guys listening. Have a great night.